And let's see. Looks like we're good there. I think. Nope, that's not it. Oh, yeah, there. Oh, yeah, there. And we're there. Gordon, we're live.
Hey, Internet. We are here. Lots of stuff. I was going to use a bad word that would cost us our Disney sponsorship.
Don't do it.
Intel architecture, which I'm going to say now because we're going to try to avoid using that word because it's just...
Architecture.
It's a...
Too many syllables.
It definitely kills... I almost used another... that tells you how tired I am. I was using another non-Disney channel friendly word there.
Architecture.
It's a real killer of... it's a real buzz killer when you say architecture,
yeah.
I think.
Oh, yeah.
RTX laptop, a lot of rumors.
Yeah, we'll see.
We should have rolled up the other rumors in there, too. The Ryzen stuff, too. But, oh, well, too late. And then also...
I'm sure somebody will ask.
Fake RAM. Fake. We should talk... we have not talked about the Ryzen leaks, or supposedly rumors, but...
I don't have those offhand. I've seen them, but I don't have them in my brain.
Well, the crazy thing is 16-core small socket, basically, AM4, is the rumor from apparently...
Adored.
That Adore got.
Yeah. We got E. Lopez here. We got Vignesh here. Heisenberg's here. Andrew says, love this channel. Thank you. We love you too.
This channel
so much fun.
Also, Derek, all the regulars, and Elena Yee is in the YouTube chat.
She's in the chat.
Both chats.
So that's how you're going to get your fix.
Also, W. Kuma is on Twitch. So I think we're ready to go, Gordon. Why don't you... whoops.
Mm-hmm.
I hit the wrong button already.
Adam's really ready to go.
Already. Don't stop. Okay. Cool. I think I'm ready this time.
Yeah.
Yep. Whenever you're ready.
All right. I was pulling up on this story because I just... Oh. Sorry, I've got... I should have brought in that RAM, too. We should just have the RAM sitting here because that's some big-ass RAM.
Oh, that's
I'm going to go get... Hang on. Wait.
All right. Well, yep.
I have no idea what he's talking about. So
we put up a video yesterday.
The Asus stuff. The Asus motherboard with the big RAM.
Yeah. I mean, that RAM is crazy. He tried to open it. I don't know if you watched the video, but he tried to open it, but he thought the thermal padding was sticking it together, so he didn't want to break it.
Probably a good call.
Yeah. Also, everyone's asking where Elaine is. She's at home right now with her cats.
She's in chat with the rest of you guys on YouTube.
Yeah. If she, like, the cat that attacks her, she, like, leaves. Ooh. She has to, like, wait till it sleeps. Like, you know, when they go in and Lord of the Rings, they go in to steal the gold or something. That's the only way she can get out of the house. I just like having this RAM here because it's just crazy.
That is pretty nuts.
I work from home every day. I've been considering getting a parrot because I'd like to teach it to cuss and stuff. But then I realized that if I had a cussing parrot in the corner of my room, it would really mess up these podcasts.
Gusu Kama. Gusu Kama. All right, I'll try that. And Hitchco.
Yeah, sorry for the delay.
All right.
We're not even going to talk about this. I'm just going to have that there.
You're just gonna tease it. People can watch our unboxing video on YouTube. It's a pretty good video.
Special guest, gigantic ass RAM.
Gigantic ass RAM.
I know. I should have. Dang it. But actually, the special guest on the graphic is a good one. I think everyone will like it.
Yeah, the special is
all right.
Big old RAM. Okay, ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
In this episode... all right, here we go.
Gordon's tired.
Intel. Yeah, I am tired as hell. In this episode of The Full Nerd is Intel...
Wrong camera. Sorry.
Is it that one?
Yeah, no,
I thought we'd do this one.
No, that's when there was two people at the table.
All right, so I need to just turn this way. All right, here we go. It's going to be a long day, folks.
Yeah.
It's already been a long day. Intel RTX fake RAM. Got it. Okay.
Yep.
In this episode of The Full Nerd, is Intel back? And are we going to see RTX laptops? And finally, fake RAM. Welcome to The Full Nerd, episode 78. I'm your host, Gordon Ung, with co-host Brad Charkis.
Hello, Internet.
And Adam Patrick Murray is controlling the horizontal and vertical.
Hey, Gordon. Hey, Brad. Do you guys like free stuff?
I do.
For those who don't
Depends.
know, I personally deal with the giveaways on PCWorld.com. And right now we have 2 awesome giveaways, a OnePlus 6T and 2 Razer Nari headphones, the ultimate headphones, the shaking one. So I'm going to put the links in the chat. But if you're an audio listener, you got to head over to PCWorld.com and enter to win.
Wow.
Big win. Big
OnePlus
win.
6, that's pretty good. That's a good
It's a good
prize.
phone. That's
That,
an awesome
that
phone.
Nari headset reviewed really well with us, actually. I'm kind of, once again, jealous that I can't sign up for that contest.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
I think that's the total bummer is we can't sign up. But yes, please do if you want a chance to. I wish doesn't work with Verizon though. I bet
What doesn't?
OnePlus. No, of course not.
Yes, it does actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
gonna sign
I think
up
this is
anyway.
the first one.
I have I'm also Kevin Durant, so I will also sign up under Kevin Durant.
There
So
you go.
That's,
Do it.
That's my burner name. But
We got big news.
we got some big news. Oops, we have big, huge news.
huge news. Ryzen.
Ryzen.
I'm just kidding now.
Oh, okay.
Just trying to
I
throw
thought
you off.
you were like using the rumor there. I am so tired. I'm low energy, as someone would say, because yesterday was an all day affair. If you go to a lot of tech websites, you will be reading about it. Intel basically hosted maybe 40 or 50 select media and analysts to brief them on their upcoming changes to their architecture.
Yeah.
It looks interesting.
And I've already violated our rule by trying not to say architecture. The big thing,
You
though,
got one per show, and you just
I got
used
one.
It, so.
I've already used it. Of course, the big deal is we are, there's a new 10 nanometer part. There was, and if you haven't kept up on Intel's process issues, there was a 10 nanometer Cannon Lake, which was delayed, 3 years for God's sake at this point.
Yep.
It was delayed 3 years. Basically, Intel says, you know what, we're just going to give up on this thing. There's a NUC and there's a laptop with it.
Yeah, and it's come out, and it's like very weak cores, and they don't have graphics enabled. And
Yeah. It's not pretty. Yesterday they says, hey, we got something new. We got these brand new cores. It's a redesign, major redesign. Sunny Cove, if I got that right.
Yep.
And then they also revealed 2 other cores that are going to be coming after that. After Sunny Cove, it'll be Willow Cove, and then it'll be, don't laugh, Internet, because I know you will, Golden Cove. I personally like Cranberry Cove, but that sounds like an ocean spray drink. So it's a major redesign. The reason it's a big deal is this is the first major redesign to an Intel CPU in a hell of a long time. Where people don't
Yes,
remember,
sir.
but Skylake that came out years ago was turned into KB Lake at higher clocks, which was turned into Coffee Lake at higher clocks, and they just kept goosing that 14 nanometer process, getting clocks higher. It's amazing what you can do with 14 nanometer, but it's for the most part Skylake plus, plus. And now they've said, hey, we're gonna go in, we're gonna this is our architecture. I said it again, but that's their
come on,
official. Their official step is we're going to go in to the 10 nanometer process, which we've perfected in the part we never really ever shipped, but we're ready now to do the redesign. And they have made the core. They described it as deeper, wider, and smarter. Right,
Oh.
and it's a 5 wide core instead of 4 for Skylake. It has improvements. It's got larger cache. I think there's over 50% larger L1. There's larger L2. There are also improvements with instructions. So what their approach with this new core, besides the fact that it's 10 nanometers, so they're going to get a goose out of that. You'll get general all-around goodness in the existing operating system and parts, because a lot of the performance enhancements improve performance without having to recompile or rewrite code. And then they were also adding a bunch of new instructions for cryptography,
Yep.
specifically, that will also greatly increase performance if you support it. It requires a recompile. In fact, one of the things they showed off was a Sunny Cove chip, which everybody thinks is going to be called Ice Lake U. Intel, of course, did not actually officially call it that, but that's what the leaks indicated it'll probably be called.
Well, they didn't indicate that, but as you point out in your article, the hardware that they were showing this chip running on said ICLU right on it. So
Yeah, it could be there to throw us off, but that does seem like it's Ice Lake U. But they're showing a 7-zip when recompiled to support the new instructions for encryption. AES-256, it was like a 75% performance bump. So, but they understand developers rarely recompile, although that's pretty easy these days, and they often don't go back to update code. So they're not saying you'll see 75% more performance. But in general, you're just going to get it because there's a lot of changes under the hood. The larger cache, it's wider. It's there's just so many things. It's finally a new core from Intel. In good lord,
finally is the right word.
Finally is an actual.
Oh
Sorry.
man, mute your phone.
Yeah, I forgot to do that. And there was an all-day thing, and that's just the tip of the surface of the stuff that Intel talked about. I think that's probably the most relevant because that's what's going to be most immediate. That's what we will see next year. But obviously, if it's a U part, as that sort of mount indicated, it'll go into laptops, ultra portables, that kind of stuff. When it's going to make its way into desktops isn't known, but I would hope they get it out next year. They are, usually there's not that much of a lag. It depends on how much of a yield they're going to have.
I don't know. I'd be kind of skeptical for next year for desktop because if they're planning on laptops first, they already said that they're expecting 10 nanometer ship at like the holiday season next year.
Yeah.
So I would expect desktop to maybe be CES after that.
Boy, that's a long time though. So, I mean, that is let's not be the buzz killer yet. Let's not be the buzz killer yet. There's also other cool stuff. What else?
Graphics inside those cores are new graphics.
Yeah, they're saying it's a 1 teraflop graphics core in the Gen 11. So, KB Lake, Coffee Lake is Gen 9. Gen 10 basically was what was in Cannon Lake, which, was locked away in a basement somewhere at this point.
It was so good that the chips that they did ship didn't include the graphics working.
It's crazy, right? Because their roadmap is like Gen 1, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, and then 11. It's like you really expected to go. You're like, well, why is it Gen 11 now? Why isn't it Gen 10? Or it's like, well, because Gen 11's faster. We just most other graphics cores only go to 10.
Oh, we're going to turn it to 11. Yeah.
Right. And it's like, and then of course you have to say, well, why not just make 10 faster and make that but
I'm glad you asked that question because that was totally what I thought they were doing.
It does seem like a Spinal Tap moment. It was not though. They did not get that crazy with it, but probably lawyers would prevent that.
But yeah, teraflop integrated Intel GPU is really exciting because, like you say in your article, the AMD Ryzen 5 2500U, which is a laptop chip with Vega 8 graphics, is 1.1 teraflops. So theoretically, that'll put it roughly in the same ballpark as those Vega integrated graphics.
Right. So it's a big difference. Right? 24 EUs to 64 EUs. So it's a big step up. They're getting a lot more serious. And also a new video engine or improvements to the video engine. 30% improvement in HEVC encodes. Decodes. And I imagine you'll see that in maybe other things too. So like for those people like Dan built that Coffee Lake box because he wanted QuickSync.
Yeah.
So QuickSync is actually getting to be a really nice checkbox item for it.
I mean, how much of a step over current integrated graphics are we talking?
For H.265, 30%. Yeah, Adam was not even listening.
No, trying to deal with all this stuff.
Yeah,
Chat's arguing about Star Trek versus Star Wars.
What?
But, yeah,
Star Wars.
Star Trek.
No, Star Trek.
Star Trek.
But the part that's interesting to me about those graphics is they said they were going to support AdaptiveSync before. This is the chip that they're actually going to support it in, and if the graphics step is that far forward to put on par with the low-end Vega 8. Graphics to have AdaptiveSync paired with that's a really enticing budget combination.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like it was a natural fit from the get-go. Intel has said they would do AdaptiveSync, which most AMD fans know is FreeSync for a long time. But they said yesterday, it's like, it took a long time. It's not like you just like add it and it works. But so they're now to that point. And they showed off Tekken, which I don't play fighting games, but it was...
Yeah, that was a little weird. But latency is an important part of, and frame rate, frame pacing. Fighting games are important that way, but it's traditionally not a PC game necessarily. So.
Yeah, I think they also wanted to show off that the significant tearing you would see because they were running a 1080p medium. So with, on the Gen 9 part, obviously the frame rate was low and you saw a lot of tearing because you'd run with VSync off because it ain't got enough. And then they showed it with Sunny Cove, Cranberry Cove, and it was,
I don't get that reference. Why you keep saying
I don't
Cranberry
know,
Cove, but I
because
really don't get that reference.
because Sunny Cove sounds like a sunny delight. It just kind of like it just takes you into the supermarket aisle where there's all kinds of like
is that
ocean
is
spray
that the
and
thing? Oh,
well, Sunny Cove, right? That's like sunny. And
I guess I wasn't thinking that.
you ever notice this about Sunny Delight? I mean,
Sunny,
I haven't
Sunny
had-
D.
Sunny
Excuse
D?
me, it's called Sunny D on
Sunny
the
D.
street.
You don't have to refrigerate it, man. You
Oh
don't
no, yeah.
have to
No, you don't
refrigerate
have
it.
to. Huh?
It's not actual orange juice, but it is delicious.
Well, it is orange juice,
Well.
as in it's orange colored.
It's orange drink.
It's also not. Yes,
Orange
people who
drink.
don't know this, you don't know this. You're not exposed to it. You're not allowed to legally call things juice unless it actually has juice from fruit in it. So something called a drink has basically it's so little actual juice content, not legally allowed to be called juice.
Sunny D's an orange drink. Oh, orange drink like orange juice? No, like it's
No,
orange.
Yeah, like it's like Fanta.
Smells orange.
But
yeah.
Techrashawn on YouTube says Sunny Cove sounds like a retirement home to him. So yeah, and
Oh, we just go down
Yeah.
to Willow Cove? No, not Willow Cove. You go down and make a left, and then Sunny Cove.
Sunny
you sign in at the
Cove.
front. You could, yeah, I'm sure
I
they have
get
pretty
it.
long visiting hours. You could see your dad there. Gordon, you left him there at the old folks' home. Never gonna go. My God, my kids are gonna check me into Sunny Cove.
yeah, pretty much. And E. Lopez says even the cut down iGPU on the Pentium line gets a nice boost. Is that true?
I don't know. I would imagine it would because they use the same core across all the parts. They
Yeah.
probably just cut down the number of EUs as they get to lower end
Oh, that's
lower end chips. What else is new? I mean, and
Tell
this
you
is,
what interested me.
Yeah.
Are we talking about the chips or in general now?
the chips. Let's talk about the chips. Because Sunny Cove, I thought was like that's something concrete consumers can wrap their heads around.
Well, something that was interesting to me that's kind of broader picture is your other article where they said, they have been stuck on 14 nanometer for so long, and it's really hurt them a bit, it seems like, what I was reading between the lines, because they tie architecture and features so heavily into the manufacturing process. I
Right.
said that word all wrong. And since they've been delayed, the manufacturing process has been an issue rolling out features. And they said in the future, they're separating out the architecture and the features and IP from the manufacturing process so they can keep going even if the nodes don't shrink. And I find that really interesting.
Yeah, and I think they really sort of speak to the traditional. God, I hate to use we're using architecture and cadence, but the usual pace that Intel goes at, right? Because normally you say cadence.
Actually, every time you say architecture, I'm going to do that.
Oh,
So
they would like, hey, we're gonna do. They'd have say 30 products, and then they go like, we're gonna go from 22 nanometer to 14 nanometer, and they talked about this yesterday. They said now let's roll everything over to 14, right? That's just kind of like everybody, you take a step, now I take a step, now you take a hit, now I take a hit, of Sunny D. And then, but they're saying like, look, we have so much stuff, so much IP, we're just kind of like, we're going to make things go where they can, right? So we're not going to be totally dependent. And yeah, I mean, and I will say the one thing that is the bigger picture item, because clearly Sunny Cove is going to become a nice Lake U, who knows, pretty soon, it sounds like. But the big news is it felt like a very different Intel meeting, I got to say. I've done a lot of Intel meetings. Some of them are very, very, very formal. Like you just feel like you're just like you got to sit at attention because like, and then some of them are, they rarely get as loose and frank as they were yesterday. And they were really, you had Murthy in there, who's, the chief architect. You had Raja doing the presentation, the whole big thing, where basically saying they're going to be concentrating on, their engineering. There's 6 pillars of engineering, which, security, process, architecture, all this other stuff adds up. We're going to be focusing on these things to get us to the next, the next thing. And they also brought out Jim Keller, who, is a very respected chip architect, the person credited with largely, architecting Zen for AMD before leaving to go to Tesla, I think, right? He went from AMD to Tesla, and then Intel picked him up about 6 months ago.
I find it interesting that all three of those names you just said weren't at Intel 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, I mean that says a lot about it, right? That's, I mean,
Yeah.
it just.
Well, and I was going to ask, so is this what Raja's been working on, the iGPU stuff?
He's actually a step higher than I think, definitely involved with graphics. And the last thing, of course, they did have a name for their next. So from Gen 11, we're going to go to Z. I
Gen
think that's
Z?
how it is.
What about Gen X?
It's XE, and it is the name for the graphics that will be used in IGP as well as data center and discrete.
Huh.
It's just the name. It's not really worth hyping up, right? So, Raja, I think, has a large role. So you're sort of steering, kind of manage all the architecture. There it goes again.
Oh,
Drink.
wait, hold on. I didn't. Oh, and
Got to drink. It's a drinking game, but
There we
they are, basically, focusing on sort of engineering instead of other things. And then Jim Keller was out there, and Jim Keller is kind of known for saying things that might get you in trouble, right? I've done plenty of briefings with chip architects, designers at Intel. They're very guarded, and it's always like you can see them going through their head to make sure I'm going to say something where I don't get my ass in a sling with the lawyers, right?
Yeah,
That's
they
like
have
the lawyers
the
are going to.
angels and the devil on their shoulder. They have a little corporate lawyer on their shoulder.
Right, because they have a lot. It's a big company with a lot of money. A lot of lawyers are always out to sue them for, shareholder or whatever stuff. So, but Jim Keller's out there. He's like just being Jim Keller, saying stuff like he said like, no engineer wakes up every morning hoping to engineer, to just squeak out 5% more performance out of whatever they're working on, right? He was sitting next to Steve from Gamers Nexus, and we both just kind of like, like the snort, like that's what Intel's been doing for the last 6 years, or every time 5%.
Yep.
So, but I mean, his approach is like, yeah, we're going to do big things. He really, the impression I got from Jim Keller was like, yeah, we're, who's in charge of a lot of the chip design stuff at a high level, and he's saying we're gonna go for the win. We're gonna reach for the brass ring. We're gonna try to do crazy things. He said chip architecture should be either really awesome or funny or something like that, and hopefully. We'll do something funny in it. And then they have Raja up there, and Raja just love, he had this picture of himself with Raja inside, and it just so unlike any Intel kind of press media briefing I think I've ever gone to, because they just rarely get that off leash. And it felt like it was very off leash, and then Murthy himself was saying, in response to the Q&A, I was like, yeah, we screwed up 10 nanometer. We screwed it up, and yeah, that's why we're suffering right now. So,
Yep.
It's very interesting. It really felt like this is that point, that inflection point where Intel's like, oh, we got to wake up and get our crap together. Otherwise, we're going to get our asses handed to us by everybody else. So,
This makes me real interested, the fact that they're switching to Sunny Cove from Cannon Lake. Because you remember there was that report from Semi-Accurate about how they're significantly changing the underpinnings of 10 nanometer, and they said, we're not doing that. Don't know what you're talking about. So it's just interesting to see in the wake of that report. I'm curious to see what the actual differences are between Cannon Lake and Sunny Cove when that happens.
Yeah, I don't know. And there was another one too, wasn't there? There was a story this week saying that they were working on 7 nanometer as well, or they have a 7 nanometer.
And it's still going separate from 10 nanometer, full speed ahead.
Right. Oh, and the other cool thing, there's just so much. We're leaving so much behind. But the other thing that they really talked about is this. I'm going to screw this up. It's like Furvius. It's like a transformer name or something, like an evil transformer name. It's Furvis.
I just had a dream about Transformers.
Apparently means
last night.
fast in Greek, but the whole idea is, we did EMIB. We proved that EMIB would work by building, we used it in our, Vega core part. They use EMIB to tie the HBM2 based Vega with their CPU. The next progression of that is stacking. So they're going to be able to actually stack die, so you could have a 22 nanometer part on the bottom, a 10 nanometer on top, and then you can just sort of add what you want to this die. It's very Lego like almost. Yeah, I mean, you're not gonna, and then they actually, so one part that apparently they have is like, they have 2 chips, and then on top of that is, pop memory, which is just, memory on top. So it's a really, really tiny package. You could see that going for, tablets like this tablet right here, by the way.
Yeah, you had people asking like, where's your MacBook? You got the new laptop, huh?
Yeah,
Is that the Snapdragon one?
Yeah, I should break that out, but we couldn't wait for it to start. No, this is this is something I have logged in. The last laptop finally quit after one really bad drop on it. So, but there are just so many really cool things that they're working on, and then the officials there were saying like afterwards, everybody was having drinks, and the engineers like we've been working on this stuff forever. Like Optane, somebody was saying like we started that in like 2006 or something like that, and you're just now seeing it. EMIB, all these technologies have been in work for more than a decade, and it just takes a long time for it to finally get to the point where you can make it, and they're there with some of these. So
actually be able to sell it and use it in products too.
Right. But yeah, I mean, yeah. So now to be Buzz Killington, the question is when, right? So
yeah.
And I gotta wonder if you think these because they didn't say when we would see these. I'm gonna guess that we're gonna see Cranberry Cove, Sunny Cove, early next year, maybe.
I still think it'll be late next year because they have said unless they change their guidance, which I don't think they can just do in a meeting like this legally without telling investors first.
Yeah.
Because they had told investors before 10 nanometer is going to be holiday or later 2019. So if these are coming to laptops first, you saw in Ice Lake U maybe chip. That's what I would expect. I would expect laptops towards the end of next year and maybe desktops at CES.
Yeah.
CES 2020, not 2019.
Yeah.
See if that's true, because I haven't followed any of that. That is going to be a long, long time, right?
Yeah.
Well, they can still roll more stuff out early next year.
Well, there's rumors of a 10-core, right?
Yeah.
i9 part, right? And small socket, 1150X.
It'd be nice to have a nice break from reviewing CPUs for you.
Yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it?
But, we have a lot of people in the chat continuously talking about the AMD rumors, and so I wanted to bring that. How do we
say Star Trek versus Star Wars?
No. Well, that went on for a while too. How do we see the AMD rumors, which are just rumors right now? Comparing to this stuff, because we got to put that into context as well.
Yeah, so let me just give you the quick hit is Dord TV supposedly got these leaked, specs. He's a YouTuber.
Good channel.
Based in Sweden. Is it Sweden? Or somewhere in Europe.
Sure.
I don't know. It's all the same to me as an American. Sorry, folks. But
Scottish, I know that.
Ryzen 3 3300, 612. The crazy thing is we're talking, according to the numbers he has, Ryzen 9 3800X, 1632. And then Ryzen 9 3850, 1632 at a 4.3 and 5.1 turbo. $500, May 2019. Right? That's sort of like, it sounds crazy because we're talking about AM4.
Yeah. How would you fit that in the socket? That would take some work to fit that in the socket, I would think.
Well, I mean, it's smaller because it's 7 nanometer. And I think it's, people are super excited. These rumors are insane, right?
I mean,
if it turns
those
out
higher
to be true,
clocks.
that's very exciting. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, look at this. So, like, the classic $200 price point for most people who don't want to step too far. Ryzen 5 3600G. So it must have. Okay. Yeah, come on. It's got integrated Navi, 20 Navi CUs for $200. Q3 2019. And then you have, good Lord. I mean, like, so they're saying Ryzen 3 3300, 612 for $99. And then a Ryzen 3 3300G.
And that was the interesting part to me about those rumors is that if they turn out to be true, which who knows at this point, those are very ambitious numbers.
Yeah.
They're getting rid of quad cores, basically. So that's the interesting part to me. And if that turns out to be true, it would be the exact opposite of Intel, because with the 900 series, like, aren't i3s just straight 4 cores now, i5s straight 6 core.
Yeah, I think so.
So this would be, Ryzen 3 being 6 cores, 12 threads, which is a lot more than just 4 i3 cores with no hyperthreading. So
Yeah, I mean Intel would have to change up if they're real, but of course people are super excited about this because it's like, really, $500 for a 16 core, 32 thread Ryzen that'll hit 5.1 on turbo.
Last year when you said the 8 core Ryzen 1800X is going to be $500, I thought you were crazy, and they did it. So
They did do that. That is.
But doesn't that also eat into Threadripper?
Well, but Threadripper would keep going, I guess. It's going to be tough to. We're sort of like at the end of the road on core count for consumers.
Mm-hmm.
For any, there's hardly any practical use for a normal person anyway for it.
I mean, really, it's the higher clocks that's the more interesting part.
Yeah, so to be Buzz Killington, so we're going to do the Buzz Kill because everybody's like super jazzed about these Ryzen rumors because it looks, like, hey, that's a great set of jazzy numbers. Joel over at StreamTech's like, yeah, these are like way too good to be true. So it does seem like, that does seem too good to be true. It is hard to believe, but you never know. It is possible. AMD goes crazy with stuff. They've got the new 7-nanometer process. They could do it, I guess, in theory. But I also kind of like, really, a Ryzen 5 with 20 Navi CUs for $199? That seems like, wow, that's
awfully nice.
Yeah, right.
So I don't know. I don't know if it's real or not. But no matter what, I think next year, if AMD is probably going to be running the desktop. Right.
Yep.
I mean, Intel will have good parts, but they're not really coming down on price to meet AMD. And then 7-nanometer Ryzen
price. They've been increasing in price. The 9700K costs more than the 8700K did.
Yeah.
So I know this isn't our predictions episode, but do you think this is what Lisa's gonna talk about at CES? Or is that too soon?
I don't know. I mean, she will. I honestly think it'll be because she's going to want to come out with both guns blazing. I think it'll be Navi announcement. Don't know about availability, and I think it'll be about Ryzen specs and an awesome demo on Ryzen. Yeah. So I think it'll be. But the dangerous thing about leaks and getting people too hyped is if it doesn't match reality and people's expectations are. Come back to the planet. When you bounce off the surface of the earth, people are really angry.
That's what happened to Radeon Vega. Like, everyone was all pumped for Vega. AMD itself put out poor Volta, Easter eggs in its ads. And then when it came out with GTX 1080 performance and not even 1080 Ti, there was a big thud.
Yeah. So it's really dangerous. You gotta be careful. Companies have to be careful about how they manage expectations. And, I'm a little bit of a conspiracy theorist. I would think if you want to hit your competition is you build up too much hype to make it unmanageable, and then all the backlash is on them. It doesn't come back to you. So, but who knows? Who knows, right?
To be a little bit, even if those core count changes don't happen, like Adam was saying, if it can actually 3rd gen Ryzen or whatever it's going to be called, Ryzen 2, whatever, manages to hit 5 gigahertz, that'd be great. I'd be very happy with that.
Yeah, I would imagine it's going to solve a lot of their clock problems on these next parts.
I mean, they have to. That's still where they lack, right? I mean, the core count, that's all fun and well, but like you said, a lot of people, even in the chat, are like, hey, if I'm just gaming, I still don't necessarily need all the cores. The cores are fine. It's the clocks.
Yeah. At the same time, they're also going to be... This will be the same part that will probably go in against Sunny Cove. Mm-hmm. So Sunny Cove is finally Intel's redesigned core, so I imagine AMD has also done enhancements to it. So we'll see, right?
I would hope so.
Actually, no, wait, they talked about it already, but I guess we'll have to. We won't see the actual because we saw a preview of the cores with Epic. We'll have to see what we get when the parts are actually.
Yeah, I mean, we got what under a month left till CES, and we'll be there. We'll be there, so we'll talk about it. But in interest of time, we should probably move on to the next topic. Unless there's anything else you want to say about this.
No, I mean, let's just wait. I mean, I tell you, it's a good time to be in. As much as everybody wants to complain It's a damn good time to be in PCs.
Yeah.
It is a damn
Yeah.
good time to be in PCs.
And all
because-
those Snapdragon meetings too. Like hell yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was actually very encouraged by reading Gordon's report, not necessarily of the Sunny Cove CPUs, but his, secondary article that's talking about how they're restructuring the engineering plans and separating everything out. Like this seems like a new Intel to me, and that's good.
Yeah. And you got a really good point. Murthy, Raja, and Jim Keller were not at Intel 3 years ago, right? So it really feels like sort of a new Intel, which is good to bring in new blood and make big changes. So
Mm-hmm.
All right.
We'll
well,
see, right?
Speaking of rumors, huh?
yeah,
What about some more rumors of some
You see
awesome
that?
RTX graphics?
Adam spends all last week shutting down our awesome segues, and then he comes to the table with this.
It's
yeah,
true.
He's moving it along, folks. He's moving along. Yeah. What are the rumors? RTX and laptops.
I'm curious because we're talking about power hungry and hot cards, right? Then that doesn't really mix well with laptops, correct?
I will say I had a conversation with someone at an unnamed company about it, and I mentioned the rumors.
Elena at PC World.
Yeah, no, it was a competing graphics technology company, and
So Intel.
and I did not meet with them yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah, it was 3DFX. No,
Creative when our buddy was here.
and this person was again very 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 on message, but I was like, yeah, what do you think of these rumors? Because there were some rumors of RTX laptops at CES was the rumor, and this person said, "Does that make any sense, Gordon?" I was like, "Well, no, but doesn't mean anything, right? I mean, no, it doesn't make sense because it seems like it's a really big, expensive die, and then now jam it into a really thin laptop."
Well,
and you're
see, that's
still-
where these rumors are interesting to me because the desktop RTX cards that we've seen so far are the 2070, 2080, and 2080 Ti, which are the big expensive dies with all that extra Tensor Core and RT Core hardware built into it. This rumor is for an RTX 2060, which a desktop version of that has not been announced yet, and 2060 Max Q. And there's still debate over whether or not that'll even have, even if it's called RTX, the actual RTX technology inside of it.
Oh my God. That's interesting. Could you imagine a card branded as RTX and not having ray tracing?
Well, but they can't do that. I mean, that's
why not?
Well, I mean, I guess they can.
They
but-
could still make it to GTX 2060.
Right. But
So-
which,
but,
yeah, they still need to talk about.
But are you sort of implying that they might do a non-RTX part without and still call it RTX, or?
Well, these rumors say it's called RTX 2060 and like these Geekbench and 3D Mark
Right.
leaks. I have trouble seeing them cramming all that technology into a laptop and having it not last like 30 minutes.
Oh,
Well, and the
yeah.
thermals are big. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also, I mean, Nvidia is still trying to get support. I mean, like why put the RTX stuff in a laptop if the support's still not even there? I mean, this seems like putting the cart before the horse, right? I mean,
Well, yeah. Well, the other thing is like what happens is like, why should we build a 7-lane highway? Let's wait till people actually, the traffic is there. It's just a waste of money. Well, then you have 7 lanes of traffic and you're just screwed. You do it ahead of time. I think that's unfair. And I actually kind of would be interested to see if I didn't even consider that, because honestly, I considered a foregone conclusion that we're going to see RTX and laptops. Yes, the rumor is true. I believe it's true. I had actually heard speculation as early as Computex that it might come in, but
Yeah, this is we've seen leaks in Geekbench, 2 3D Mark entries, and originally in the Final Fantasy 15 benchmark.
But do
So
you
it's
think?
Places.
Here's my question though: is what if they come out with these next generation parts? They're based on these dies, but there's no ray tracing. Are people going to get angry now? Now,
well, but I mean, unless they really push what they should have pushed before is the performance improvements.
well, there were performance improvements, man.
I know,
performance
but when he got
improvements.
on stage, he really focused on the RTX stuff, which is cool. But like the performance improvements is what you could push and be like, hey, and then as an added bonus, you also get some ray tracing ability.
I just want to say I don't want to see people go from like, man, NVIDIA, you wasted our time on RTX. Nobody wants this ray tracing stuff. Well, how come you made ray tracing laptops without ray tracing? I think
it's going to depend on
make up
messaging.
your mind, internet.
It's going to depend on how they message and develop these things, which NVIDIA is typically actually very good at, I think, their marketing. But RTX 2060, if it's an RTX card that doesn't have the RTX hardware, I think that's when that'll happen. But, I think if they release a GTX 2060 and the rumors say it falls somewhere in performance between a 1070 and a 1070 Max Q, fine, great. That'd be awesome. And then maybe a little bit further down the line, make an actual RTX enabled like 2070 for laptops, but have it be for, like the big Alienware, so the big Origin PCs or whatever.
Do you think would they first announce and release that in a laptop, or would they talk about desktop first? If it's a GTX 2060?
I would not be surprised if they launch a 2060 at CES that they also announce it for the desktop at the same time. I would think it would be simultaneous.
I have a prediction.
They need new technology in laptops. We've had the 1060 in laptops for 2 years, man. If they have, these new improved Turing GPUs, even if you can't squeeze the RTX, the Tensor cores and the RT cores into it, if you can make a faster, better 2060, do it and put it in laptops. We're looking for something new. So
Brad, it won't have ray tracing though. I just can't imagine like well, the internet's really angry.
It could be a good way to get some goodwill back. Like, hey, like
it won't be goodwill, Adam.
You don't think
People
so?
are gonna get angry.
So.
Like, what? I want a laptop with my next generation ray tracing capabilities.
No, I don't think.
Oh, come on.
I don't think people are gonna be angry about that.
I was watching a video today. With Steve on Gamers Nexus interviewing Scott Wasson from A&D examining frame times.
Oh, yes.
And at one point in the interview, he goes, I'm going to channel my inner Gordon right now. We did the same
really?
earlier this year, and now I'm going to do what Gordon did to me. I'm the internet, and I'm mad. What do you have to say to this?
Oh, that's good. That's funny.
Come on, you just know people are going to be like, what the hell? Where's my ray tracing? And then it's just like, oh, really?
I don't know.
It depends on the name. I think if they call it GTX 2060, I think it wouldn't. If they call it RTX 2060 and it doesn't have ray tracing, I think it would be exactly what you're saying. But I think if they manage to message it a little bit different, it might be different.
Well, yeah. So it's like, hey, okay, we're going to release GTX 2060. We got the desktop and the laptop. You get this performance improvement, and it's the same price. Like we're not going to increase price either. Like that's goodwill. Like
All right,
it's an option. It's an option because you still allow ray tracing at the high end, but then you give people in the low middle more options.
I can explain this in a way that you two understand because clearly it's not getting through. Have you ever gotten in an argument with your significant other?
Never.
Oh, come on. You ever notice, like, when you
what
get
kind of argument?
If viewers who understand, who are in relationships, well, your computer could count too, but if you're in a relationship, you get in an argument. Now,
sometimes not right.
I don't know if it's just me, but I'm going to guess for Brad and Adam, it's very similar. You're always wrong. For no matter what, you think like, yeah, I'm right this time. I am right on this argument, right? Like I am in the side of the righteousness. I am like Samuel L. Jackson, right? No, because I swear to God, getting in an argument with your wife or husband or girlfriend or boyfriend, I don't know what it is with me, but you're always going to end up getting that flipped around on you and you losing. Because that's why we know that's how I absolutely know that there will be a ray tracing laptop.
Well,
if that
actually,
makes any sense.
Well, Ruru2 has a good suggestion, or not suggestion, but an option. They can call it RTX, but what if it doesn't have ray tracing cores, but it does have tensor cores that does the DLSS? Is that still RTX?
No.
It is, because RTX is their marketing term for that collection of technologies. Technically, it's RTX. I think people might disagree.
Well, but in the laptop, I mean, you know, sure, maybe you don't get the ray tracing cores, but in the laptop, the DLSS stuff, you know, could make a difference, right?
Yep.
Definitely. Look, I'm just telling you, as of all the arguments I've lost with my wife, the internet's gonna come back and bite their ass if there's no ray tracing in these new laptops. That's all I got to say. If there's no ray tracing, people are gonna get angry.
Well,
where's my ray tracing?
At least nobody in our chat is getting angry. So.
Yeah, I know.
That comment, and this comment's making me angry, because it just made me realize that it's been months and we still don't have any DLSS games.
True.
And their whole thing is like, we'll use our supercomputer, we'll put your games in it, you can just release an update, we'll do it for you for free, so we'll have all these games with DLSS. And there still hasn't been a single game yet, and I'm really bummed that none of those are out, because it's like 25 games or something like that have said they're gonna support it, and they still haven't, and it's almost next year.
Well, they're gonna. We said we gonna at some point later. It'll happen. I'm gonna guess. I was hoping DLSS. I expected ray tracing to take a long time, but since DLSS, the whole pitch was, we'll just run it through our supercomputer. You release a software update. We'll put something out in GFE. Everything will be good to go. It'll be easy. It'll be free. I was hoping we'd see that roll out a little bit faster. Yeah. You're right. I mean, it's. I guess, you know, at some point you're like, whatever. We're getting beat up anyway, so we'll just take our time and do it, right? You've already lost, Brad. You've already lost that argument with your spouse. He's like, whatever.
It's totally a tangent, but while I'm talking about RTX stuff, man, that new Battlefield 5 driver update dramatically increased ray tracing performance.
Yeah.
So everyone at first, you know, when it came out, everyone's like, oh, it barely runs at 1080p 60 with 2080 Ti. And everyone said, hey, man, this is the early days. Things can be optimized. Their very first update after that, I mean, you can run 60 frames per second at 1440p now with the 2080 Ti.
Nice.
Wow.
Which is a big difference compared to running at 1080p.
With ultra ray tracing on?
Yeah, with Ultra, with the settings jacked.
Has it gotten any cheaper, the 2080 Ti?
No.
Oh. Well, that's the crazy thing.
If you can find one, they're much more expensive now, actually.
Oh, really?
If you can find one, the more expensive ones.
The 2070s and 2080s are actually easier.
Yeah.
I guess it makes sense because, you know what, you're a baller, as they say, because you play lots of basketball. You're going to be going for the top end. Well, you know what, like 2070.
Well, there's a lot of people in chat saying they're still sticking with their 1080 Ti's for now.
Yeah, there's nothing. Yeah, I wouldn't have. I have a 1080 Ti. I'm not going to go run out and like, I need a. It doesn't make any sense at this point.
It only makes sense if you have one of those G-Sync HDR monitors.
Yeah.
Like, getting a push past 60 frames per second at 4K, it might be worth it. But in general, 1080 Ti kicks ass still. It's still the third best card you can buy, or second best card you could buy.
But would you go out and buy a 1080 Ti now for $700?
Yeah, why not?
You can't anymore, so no.
Okay. Well then, I guess that's. No, I'm just saying it just doesn't. It never made any sense to buy old technology to me.
Well, and the other option, Rusty says that they saw a Titan RTX on sale for $2,400 or $2,498. So you just grab one of those.
See, that's my other. That's my rationale. Is they also for reasons why Titan RTX. Like, look at that. Like, NVIDIA just like, we don't care what you think. We're just going to throw down. Like, that card is just like salt on the wound, right? Of everybody angry over pricing of a 2080 Ti. Yeah, we got a fix for you.
That part is basically the Quadro. I forget the name. If you're looking at it from a gamer perspective, that's like, what the hell? How is that, whatever price that it is, like $3,000 or whatever. Yeah. But if you're looking at it as, I'm going to save 50% off the cost of this Quadro, just not to get the Quadro drivers, it's actually a steal. So I guess it's perspective.
I guess. I just know that Titan has been marketed off and on as a very, very high-end enthusiast, gaming card, not content creation. So
at this point, it's firmly back in its initial prosumer,
I guess. Or I'm just saying, this is like NVIDIA looking at you people are angry, like, hey, you're pissed off over that $1,200 2080 Ti. Why don't you buy one of these then? Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's we'll we'll see. More rumors, more speculation. We still have our episode
You
coming
already
up
have my prediction.
where we're gonna have to do Well, we're gonna have to write it down on paper, so hold on to that prediction.
Right. Right.
But yeah, well, why don't we move to the last topic? So we can wrap it up.
This can be.
We're gonna do the prediction episode next week. Spoiler alert for the people watching.
Yep.
If you guys wrote down my predictions last year, if
we
y'all
need to send that. Yeah.
emailed them to me, that would be great. Because
Yes.
eating a bunch of lined notebook paper last year, after the show, I wasn't feeling so hot.
Yeah. No, we need to send that. We'll overnight it. I got it. I'll make a reminder.
So here's the cool thing. Now, this has nothing to do with this, but I just want to have this in here because it's the biggest ass dim I've ever seen. So much. Sorry, Mr. Mouse.
Wait, this isn't the Corsair RGB RAM.
It's not the Corsair RGB, but I want to talk about craziness of RAM. This is a double capacity DIMM, 32 gigs. Craziness because it's stacked up on top of each other. But this is the nutty thing. I saw a story on Tom's Hardware yesterday. Corsair is selling dummy RAM with RGB lights. And I actually checked. It's the Vengeance Pro, Vengeance RGB Pro Light Enhancement Kit. I'm not even making that up. Can we see that? I don't even. You can see. No, you can't.
No,
see
you
it.
can't see it. Yeah.
You can't see it, but it looks like just a pair of RGB DIMMs. But there ain't no memory in them.
No, RGB, nothing these days. It's funny because we were like, they're putting RGB on SSDs now. What could possibly be next? And it's fake RAM.
I'm but that, I mean, I know, of course, people are like, oh, that's just stupid. But, I can see it. I honestly wouldn't mind, like, I just may run one DIMM, like 8 gigs of RAM, and then like 3 dummy DIMMs. Just kind of, or maybe I'll build a Skylake X or a Ryzen box where it's just like all dummy DIMMs. Like it's all just like packed.
My PC runs like crap, but it sure looks good.
Yeah, and so they look exactly, they've got contacts, they've got memory on top, and my guess is it basically powers up the exact same way as a regular DIMM. It just doesn't have the memory in it. Does that make you crazy?
Customizable RGBs, just like any other RGB RAM.
I mean, I have our work boards. Has empty slots. You might as well just fill in those empty slots with some cool lights, right?
Right, especially if you're building a blingy.
Yeah.
No. Here's the thing. I was thinking though, this is just the beginning.
Uh-oh.
Like, why stop there? Why stop there? You know what? I have a business I'm going to start selling, Brad.
Okay.
Adam.
You can't say this online. People steal it.
Yeah, I know. Well, I've already patented it. I'm going to be selling RTX 2080 Ti cards.
Like fake ones?
With just nothing inside, but it looks just like it. So I got 3
You got all those PCIe lanes.
Yeah, I have 3 of them all connected. They light up because it'll be powered over PCIe.
You can do your custom water cooling
Ain't
to
nothing
it.
in it. Ain't nothing in it. Oh, yeah, that would be the other thing would be dummy water cooling.
Wait, how do you dummy water cool?
If you mix that with RGB, so it looks like RGB water inside, like make it nice and blue, that might actually be pretty nice.
You could just put one big water block that has some nice lights behind it, but it's not actually like piping anywhere.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have the big radiators and everything and all the fans, but would the fans not even spin for the fake thing?
Hey, at least Uncle Elias on Twitch he's in. He likes it dummy water cooling.
Gigabyte did a kit like this too earlier this year.
Oh yeah,
I think it was paired with.
Yeah, somebody said
I
that.
think it was sold as like a kit of 4 RAM sticks, but only 2 of them were actually RAM. The other 2 were just to look good. But Corsair's selling this for $40.
Yeah,
which that's not cheap, but that's cheap enough that if you're looking for a gift for the gamer in your life and they got RGB RAM, $40.
$40 per stick. Is that 40?
No, for the pair. For the pair.
Oh, okay, that's not bad.
Yeah,
That's not bad.
Well,
that's just on the. That's I can see.
You know.
Would you do it? I mean, you're right. I mean, $40 is like a stocking stuffer, sort of.
Hey, listen. When we did Elena's RGB build, I guarantee you she would have got $40 to do that.
And
Yeah.
then why did she have to use 4? Right? And she could have gone with 2.
Yeah.
2 DIMMs, but no, that doesn't
See,
look.
that's cheaper. You save yourself money, but you still get the RGB.
I tell you, the really good gift is they will never know. They will never know. Like, I gave you some. Oh, and they're like, and then of course you'll talk to them like, oh, my system is so much faster after you gave me that RAM. Yeah.
Yeah, Elena in the chat, she likes it.
32 gigs is so much better than 16 gigs. I've tested it. It actually loads faster.
Yeah, if you turn those lights red, it'll go even faster.
Oh yeah, but you told me you got to stick it on red, right?
On red.
Yeah.
Only a red goes fast.
Blue's cool.
Got it.
God, I bet people would think it would go faster. What do you think?
Oh, okay.
100%.
Elena's clarifying. I didn't mean to mess up her words. She didn't say she liked it. She said it makes sense if you want to fill 2 empty DIMM slots.
What the heck kind of a statement is that?
Yeah.
That's like, was that like a press conference? Like, let me clarify there. Wait, what? Yeah,
That's
just
Bill Clinton impersonation.
what?
It's always a good
That's
impersonation.
Bill Clinton.
I do really good Bill Clinton. I've worked on it for years. I actually vote on presidential candidates that I can do imitations of.
Oh, got it.
Smart.
Bob Dole. I did a really good Bob Dole. I was really upset.
I don't
when
think
he lost.
anyone remembers what he sounds like.
I know it. You know it. American people know it. That's the most famous Bob Dole. Yeah.
I'm not against these. I mean, I think that's the epitome of RGB looks over functionality, but I'm fine with that if you want to spend your money on that. I get $40, that's reasonable.
Yeah. I mean, but what is 16 gigs of RGB RAM cost? Probably $100.
A lot more than $40. No.
Oh, okay.
Especially of RGB RAM.
40's not bad. Okay, then 40's not bad. I just like the idea of just giving it to people and then them telling you how fast it is later.
Hey, you know what? We've got PCs around here with empty slots. Fill them up.
And you know there's really counterfeit issues, right? People, it's craziness is they'll counterfeit. You'll buy a 1080 and it'll be like a 1060 inside or something like that.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So flash the BIOS and it'll say when it boots up it'll say 1080, but it's not.
Oh.
Yeah, and that's why you don't like to. You should not buy that used 1080 Ti for $100. Yeah,
it's a good deal.
You buy this for somebody and it turns out they have like G.Skill low profile RAM, and so it's got G.Skill low profile red RAM to this gigantic Vengeance Pro RGB thing.
Yeah. Where does it stop? I'm. By the way, I've already my business selling my dummy RTX cards is already branched out. I now also sell 1,000 and 1,500 watt power supply upgrades. They're magnetic, so you can move it to any new build easily. You just put it on the side. It's gonna.
Nice. Do we have some time to take some random questions?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. Well, I put it in the chat. If you got any random questions, I mean, you can even talk about stuff we talked about earlier. Get it in now and tag me at PC World, so I definitely see it. So Vignesh has the first question. Dream specs for Zen 2 architecture CPUs from the panel. Dream specs.
Pretty much what we've seen. Holy smokes! If they really push out 16-core. 32 count AM4 base CPUs for what Adored TV claims those specs are that he got leaked, then that would be really. I mean, how do you? There's no way to paint that as anything else but a solid, amazing feature.
That is a dream spec, but for me, if they're able to stick with the improvements they made in Ryzen second gen Ryzen, we know with the XFR and all that stuff, taking the overclock as high as it can go automatically, and then just get those clock speeds up to like 4.8, something like that. I would be very happy with the existing, 4-core 8-thread, 6-core 12-thread, 8-core 16-thread, 5 gigahertz XFR pushes as hard as it can go. I'd be very happy with that.
I mean, and that's and again, so part of the dream spec is. Again, 16-core Ryzen 9 AM4, 4.3 gigahertz base. I'd be really happy with that. And 5.1 on turbo would be like, yeah, that's...
And I have an 18X in my personal rig, and it can't hit that overclocked.
Yeah, no, not really.
No, not at all.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, there was a wall at 4, right?
All right, we got some more questions. piling in, so let's sling through them real quick. Wing Dog on YouTube. Does that double stack RAM work on any motherboard, Gordon?
It does not. In fact, it only works on one.
Oh.
Which is, well, on 3 boards, one of which is the Maximus 11 Gene. Had it here.
He put it out under the table. What?
Busted it out because it was actually sent because it's one of those that actually works. This is ZADAC memory. We have a video on the website. It does only work in some things. It's best in the dual slot configuration. Makes more sense. So because you really remember, Coffee Lake doesn't address more than 64 gigs anyway, right? So
nice. All right, Jason. On YouTube, when do you think RTX will be mainstream in most games? Prediction?
Years.
2022. That sounds
4 or
about
5
right.
years. And when you say most games, it'll be 4 or 5 years at the least, if it happens. So,
Yeah, it's always further out than you think.
like we've said, I've said a bunch of times we've been discussing this. DirectX 12 came out. It has a bunch of benefits if you take the time to optimize for it. We're only just now over the latter half of this year starting to see a lot of games come out with DirectX 12 because it takes 3 or 4 years for these major games to get through development. So.
All right. Over on Twitch, Spicy Teriyaki. Have you got any G.Skill Trident Z Gold RAM for review?
I do not, but I can tell you this RAM is bigger. It's like, whew, it's hot in here.
That's the RAM that I think Elena is working on trying to get, isn't it?
Yeah, she is. Yep.
What is
Yeah.
it? Solid gold or something like that?
Bling bling.
From Gold Member?
I don't know if
Awesome
it's
power
solid
supply.
gold, but it's gold
It's
looking at least.
It's really gold?
No, that's of course it's not gold.
No.
It's gold colored.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
That's
I mean, but solid gold plated, maybe? I mean, like,
No.
no, okay,
No.
not
Even.
that.
Not even. Yeah. Come on. RAM is already expensive enough.
She's going to build her Chinese New Year one, red and gold.
Yes. Also on Twitch, is it a good idea to buy a laser keyboard for gaming? I'm assuming he's talking about the
Optical
yeah,
base.
which I'm using on my desk after Hayden reviewed. I've been using it on my desk at work, but I haven't been gaming on it. So
It's not, I mean, it's better than what came with your computer. For me, I'm always gonna say you should get a mechanical keyboard if you're fine with that. But I mean, if you get a good laser keyboard, it's better than what came with your computer.
Yeah, and I got to say, I think it's just for the most part, marketing fluff unless you're just like a serious, like, badass gamer. For
Yeah.
most of us,
yeah.
we're not,
But-
it's classic. The marketing of gaming hardware is like the marketing of tennis shoes, well, sneakers, right?
Yeah.
Basketball shoes. Ain't no way whatever shoe I buy is going to make me shoot or play like Steph Curry. But I like wearing Steph's or LeBron's shoes because it's like, yeah. But you're not gonna get you any closer to
No.
it. You'll feel better because you have the LeBron shoe or whatever that you stood in line for to get.
I don't agree. At least as far as mechanical keyboards, I think they're genuinely more comfortable and give you more tactile feedback and response than like I said, the stuff that comes with your big box PCs.
I agree that yes, I enjoy it for typing. Does it actually make you a better gamer? I would say no. It doesn't make you an actual better gamer. But it's just like the shoes. You just pay $200 for a pair of sneakers. It doesn't make you any better.
Also, before I tried this Razer Huntsman Elite, I had switched over to blues, and these are quite comfortable to Cherry Blues. A little louder, but have a shorter actuation. So yeah.
Cherry is already plenty loud.
Oh yeah. I don't know if it's something about the actual click or if it's the case it's in, but it is noticeable.
Does it make you a better player?
Yes, definitely. So to keep going with questions, are you going to be doing a review of that motherboard, Gordon? E. Lopez asks.
We're probably not going to do a board review because to do motherboard reviews takes an intense amount of time, but I do want to crank it up because it is a bizarre motherboard. It's micro. Go look at the video. It's micro ATX, but it's more of a mini ATX plus than a micro ATX. So very very different micro ATX board.
So it's a micro ATX with gigantic RAM sticking out of it.
Well, they did things like there's only 4. There's only 2 DIMM slots instead of, so they use the other. So it doesn't have 4, which you can fit into micro ATX easily. You can't do that in mini ITX. Yep. And typically micro ATX has up to 2 to 3 PCIe by 16s. They're only going to run 1. So the features are very much like we are taking the space of micro ATX that nobody uses, and we're going to make it a better board. Bigger VRMs and all kinds of stuff to make it better, and also support for big ass memory slots. Let me look at this thing. It's giant. That's my phone. Right? That's just.
All right. Keeping it going. Naga K on YouTube's asking recommendations for a B450 motherboard.
I have not tested B450, but I tested a bunch of B350, and I found that Gigabyte's Aorus, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that, gaming boards I found them all to be, I tested the Gaming 5 and the Gaming 7, and I found them both very reliable and updated frequently. So personally, if I was shopping for a board, maybe that's where I would go.
All right. Can we go a couple more? We got some time, or do we need,
Yeah.
Will is asking, wouldn't you agree that a 8086K with its higher clocks could be a better CPU for games than the 9900K? Yes, no.
Depends on the game.
Yeah, it depends on the game. We're living DirectX 12, right? You need more cores. No. Maybe not. It all sort of depends. Yeah, it could definitely be a better choice for someone who's going to overclock it, but clearly 9900K it's a pretty fast chip, right?
Yeah, if you're looking to just game, though, I think, although we haven't tested it, off the top of my head spitballing, I would think the 8086K would hold up pretty well there if you overclock it, because it can get over 5 gigahertz. So, and it's $100 less than the 9900K. If you don't need the extra 2 cores and 4 threads, then maybe I'd lean towards the 8086K.
Well, I would say no, because the 8086K is just because it's a cool ass CPU to have, because it's 8086. I would say just get an 8700K if you're gonna right, because why spend money for 8086K? It's got higher clocks, it's a better bin and all that, but do you need that for the games you're running? No. I mean, if you don't need it, then there's no reason to 8086K. But to be fair, though, why is it people are holding this against 9900K, right? I just want to be, if you're going to say Ryzen is better because it has more cores, so it's future proof, that same standard also holds for 9900K. It's got more cores, it's future proof, right? If you use that same logic.
It's $500 compared to $300 for the.
But I'm just saying, we're not talking about price performance. I'm talking about just simply, but you can't now suddenly make that not a factor. If people are going to say, oh, I need 8 cores for the future, hey, that's cool, more power to you. I think it's a great choice. Mm-hmm. But that also applies to 9900K. You can't suddenly, I sometimes feel like people are just trying to find things to spit on, whatever a thing is. But yeah.
And people are saying the overclock is better for the 8086K.
Yeah, of course. 6 cores, right?
I agree with you, Gordon, but I would also say that if you're looking at it purely from a gameplay perspective and looking to get those higher clocks, 6 cores and 12 threads is enough for you.
Yeah, no, it's plenty.
If you want to save $100, if you want to save the $100 or whatever.
Look, I
agree with you. I think.
Hey, it's your money. Go spend it. But I just want people to be consistent. They can't go, Ryzen 7 2700X versus 8700K, right? Well, why the hell would I buy a 6 core when I can get 8 cores and I'm future proof, right? Well, then you need to also go. Of course, 2700X is a great deal, right? That's, of course, outside of the pricing. So,
all right, a couple more. No more questions. We're cutting it off. Pick one. Stan is asking Alienware M15 1070 Max Q or similar config on a Razer Blade 15. Which you'd rather have?
I have not actually reviewed the M15 yet. I'd
go
think
Razer.
The Razer is smaller, if I remember right. I'd have to see them side by side. I think we've sort of addressed this before, but they're two really good brands, well recognized. One is very much has the supply chain of Dell, and one is very much like a smaller design firm. Alienware sells, I'm sure, hundreds of thousands, if not into the millions of laptops. Razer probably sells a fraction of that, so the parts are out there, all those kind of things. I do like the way the Razer feels with all aluminum finish and all that stuff. The Alienware is also, I believe, magnesium as well, but it just doesn't, that sort of like all black mystique that they have going on with Razer is nice. So I have to see the Alienware first, though.
Brad, what do you think? You have a preference?
I don't know what the M15 is off the top of my head, so no.
Okay. It was the Alienware's new rebranding, the smaller, thinner, lighter.
Although I will say, I think the performance, I don't know, but I think the performance of the Alienware will be better. The Razer Blade is pushing the power envelope for the size that it is. It is incredibly tiny for the amount of power it packs. So you give up clocks in the CPU unless you set it into run fans at max speed mode. So be advised.
All right. Last serious question, and then one more to finish it off. Rusty's asking, if Lisa Su picked Gordon and Brad to become the head marketing of RTG, how would they market AMD GPUs to try to capture more mind share and furthermore more market share?
Today we learned Rusty's an AMD recruiter in disguise.
Yeah.
Wait, what's your answer though, Brad? So we're talking about
Spin it.
So like you're coming up, you're doing the marketing for Navi.
Yep.
You've got RTX. NVIDIA's already shown its cards. Intel still hiding its cards, but a long time away.
Well, it's going to depend on what Navi actually is capable of, but I think in general, I would probably push the stuff that they've been pushing. They've been, FreeSync is an awesome value proposition that NVIDIA has no answer for at the lower end. Vega graphics in those Ryzen APUs are freaking great. Same thing. I'd be pushing that, the value proposition. I'd be pushing FreeSync, makes it smoother, makes it, whatnot. I would probably maybe pay for some ads that get that out there a little bit more, because I think Intel and NVIDIA spend money on those things. AMD doesn't necessarily, and that makes a difference. And if Navi comes out and it loads up on shader cores and doesn't have, ray tracing style stuff, like I was saying a couple episodes ago, I'd be playing up the, hey man, if you want to play, with ray tracing in those 5 games, go right ahead, spend twice as much. But if you want to get faster performance right here, right now in the games that you're playing today, come check this out.
Boom.
Yeah, same thing. I would market NVIDIA's clear weakness and headwinds with ray tracing against them. You'd make fun of are you really going to stop and look at these sort of reflections, kind of thing. I'd definitely, if the performance is better and the price is better and you've got FreeSync, it's pretty easy to beat up on them. I would probably I think if they got in their face a little bit about it, because the backlash against ray tracing has been so intense, probably more intense than I think even they expected. And I think, frankly, most of us expected, because it is a cool new feature. But I would definitely, it looks like it's amazing, right? Because it's supposed to be like, this was the strength of RTX and it's turned into a weakness of our AMD. You hammer them on that. Yeah, you know what? I got to say, great. Why don't you if you're buying a card to play games in 2026, why don't you buy our card, which is faster, cheaper right now, and then in 2026 buy another card.
And you get free games.
And your free games. So,
That's going to need new hardware, though, because Vega right now ain't going to cut it.
Well, I mean, Navi.
It's not really RTG, but just sitting here thinking about it, I would also play up the Ryzen APUs and Fortnite. Like, I would be pushing the hell out of that. Like, hey, man,
Fortnite
spend
powered
$100.
by AMD.
Yeah. Get your kid this thing for Christmas. This is the Fortnite. God. This will be excellent at Fortnite. It'll cost you $300. They'll be set for a long time. Fortnite ain't going anywhere. It's not getting any more strenuous.
Is it me, or just like, that's just a weird ass game? I'm just like, for me, it's just
fun.
Is it?
Yeah, I play here and there.
I don't understand it. I just don't like what is this? Like kind of pirate steampunk thing?
Yeah, it's just a shooter. I just
yeah,
shoot.
with
I don't
like
even build.
pirate steampunk theme. I don't know. It's weird.
It makes it run easy when you don't have realistic graphics. All right, last question, and we'll get out of here. David on YouTube's asking, is Santa real?
Ask your parents.
Yes, Santa is real. In fact, he has just put a strike down against you.
Oh,
You were gonna get two of these 32 gig DIMMs. Santa's like, I heard that. I'm gonna give you some of these Corsair RGB lighting kits
fake,
instead.
fake sticks.
So yeah. All right. So hopefully next week I'm gonna take it out now.
We're gonna have
Do
we're
we
gonna
have
have
a time?
2 shows next week.
We're really
'Cause
gonna do
we
2
got
shows?
we've got the we got to eat our paper and do the awards, and then that last show is gonna be predictions for 2019.
I may take my paper in suppository form.
Okay,
So
goodness,
yeah, we just saying
tune in for that.
there will be no Disney sponsorship. Definitely no.
Yeah, we're done.
Disney
2019, no Disney.
sponsorship. Yeah.
Yeah,
there
we
goes.
just start cussing in 2019.
Okay, check back next week for your fix of PC Talk on the Full Nerd. For audio listeners, subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher, and also leave a review on iTunes. Every time you do, somebody makes some new fake hardware to sell. Send questions and comments to the Full Nerd at PCWorld.com. Seriously, all I ever get is spam. Thanks for coming. I'm Gordon Young with Brad Charkis.
Counting down the days to holiday break.
And Adam Patrick Murray's hitting the off switch.
Santa's not real.
What? Oh, yeah, RGB RAM for you now.